Morning everyone, hope you're well. How's it going? How's it going? Hello Gabriel, hello, how's Georgine, Akano, good to see you guys, good to see you, welcome, welcome. Wonk, Apocalypse, Ferrari, good to see you, good to see you guys. Morning, morning, Levy. Good to see some regular faces. Yeah, who's ready for an interesting day, eh? Who's ready for an interesting day? Why is my chat box not updating itself yet? Interesting. Right. There we go, it's working now, it's working. Bit delayed, but it's working. Practice will start on the half-hour mark. On the half-hour mark, everyone. So decided to go live a little bit earlier. Make sure I had everything set up properly. I felt like I was in a bit of a rush yesterday, of course, with work. So yeah. Afternoon, Anthony. I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, she's doing good. Yeah, she's doing good. Not long now. Not long. How long is it? Early October, so yeah, 2.5 months. 2.5 months. Not long to go at all. Not long to go. Any predictions for quali yet? Not yet, Wonk. No, I don't feel like I saw enough yesterday. The first practice session was super duper hot. The second practice session was just interrupted by, of course, Charles Leclerc's crash. Didn't get too much in regards to long run pace. The quali runs as well. I think we saw that Mercedes might have to do a second outlap. Looked like quite a few drivers had their laps compromised or they didn't prep the tyres correctly. So I think there's still a lot to be not desired, but I think there's still a lot to be found and discovered from this practice session today. So gonna say Max and Lando for pole. Yeah, I mean, look, Lewis said he wasn't too happy with the car, and it didn't seem to be a good practice session for them yesterday. So we'll see if they're able to sort out those issues overnight. As we said yesterday, Mercedes, genuinely, this is a track that they've gone well at. But there were drivers kind of all over the place yesterday. I mean, the timings, I didn't really pay too much attention to the long runs either. But look, track temperature today is 40 degrees. It's quite cloudy by the sounds of it. Potential for rain in quali, not too much, but potential. So yeah, this is really going to be an interesting practice session to kind of see where the teams are at, to kind of see where that running order is. I think because we're going to see drivers most likely do their quali runs and also do their long runs as well. So do some more long runs. Did I see Max crash at Goodwood? He didn't crash at Goodwood, did he? He didn't crash. Can Leclerc get pole in qualifying today? I don't know. Really, it's difficult to say with Leclerc because we don't know what his true pace is because he binned it yesterday. Potentially, because it's Leclerc. He always does well in qualifying, generally speaking. But hey, Gabriel. Hey, Leo. I'm very well, thank you. Very well. I'm nice and rested. Had a nice night's sleep. About 9 hours or so, I think it was. More than that, actually. So Leclerc is crash happy. He does crash a lot on Friday, doesn't he? It feels like he pushes way too much on a Friday. Like he doesn't need to. So we'll see. I mean, I haven't looked to see actually if there were any, if anything needed to be replaced with Leclerc's car. I don't know if anyone knows that information. Just looking on my Twitter now and I can't see anything. Mate, I think he was a very lucky boy. It seemed like. Yeah, same one. I thought like normally it could quite easily be so, but that crash ends up with 2 broken suspensions and a bad sorry, what's the right word? Like internal issues, like gearbox and so forth. The EVGA X was the maximum crash at Goodwood. I got that on camera. I was there. I saw it crash. I got it on camera. If you missed it, go check out my my Goodwood video where I saw F1 for the first time in person. We saw the Ferrari, the 2017 Ferrari, go up the hill. We saw Juan Pablo Montoya's BMW Williams, the V10. We saw the RB18, I think it was, or one of the Red Bull cars. It was a V6. Saw the Alpine, which was a V6, and V8s, and then saw Keke Rosberg's car go up the hill, and McLaren, Ayrton Senna's McLaren, which was a V12. So yeah, like, so good, man, so good. The drift cars were amazing, the supercars as well. Great experience. So check that video out. Q1 is on the half-hour mark, so just over 7 minutes, just under 7 minutes, just over 5 minutes, basically. Max on pole. It's Max Verstappen, everyone, from the Hungaroring. He's about to jump into his car, and he just wanted to drop in here and just tell everyone he's going to get pole position later on today. You're in with a shot, Max. You're in with a shot. Is Red Bull's second seat filled? Technically, it is. If we're going to go on technicalities, it is filled, isn't it? Because he has that second Red Bull seat belongs to Checo. He has a contract. But, yeah, obviously lots of rumours circulating. So we'll see. We'll see if that second Red Bull seat belongs to Checo come the end, come the summer break, I guess, or after the summer break. Rick and Yuki are a mile apart in practice. They were yesterday. I think Yuki had some technical issues with his car, Steve. So don't read too much into that. Yuki literally got in FP2. He got like just over 10 laps of running throughout the whole session. So yeah, something quite wrong with Yuki's car. So don't look too much into that. Starting on the half hour, Ahmed. It's 5 minutes. 5 minutes time. You saw Jenson Button in the McLaren F1 years ago in Manchester, still the loudest car you've ever heard. Yeah, I mean, so I've never been to an F1 race, guys, and it pains me to say that I've seen F1 cars in person, like static, not moving, like in a factory and so forth, but I've never seen them moving, current or historic. And Goodwood Revival was last week was my first ever experience hearing the V8s and the V10s, and just seeing any F1 car in history actually moving. And what I will say is that, of course, the noise, I do wish we'd bring the noise back, but it was visibly noticeable how much quicker the V6 hybrid engine cars are. Like now, obviously, it's just a short spurt kind of up the hill. But they all pretty much gave it a welly. And you could see visibly just how much quicker that hybrid engine was compared to the rest. And of course, F1 cars are the quickest they've ever been. They've got quicker and quicker, especially that era before the new ground effect era. Yeah, it wasn't as loud, obviously, but it was visibly noticeable how much quicker it was. So. Hey, Kristen. Is there a rumour about McLaren's brakes? So this rumour has appeared because Christian Horner or the Red Bull team have supposedly not happy with an air duct or something to do with the cooling that isn't part of the regulations that they think McLaren are doing. So I don't know, but we mentioned it yesterday. So Red Bull are now starting to challenge parts on other teams' cars. And there's a rumour that's been floating around I saw on Twitter yesterday from a very reputable journalist. He's a foreign journalist. I don't know his name, apologies, but he's got over 500,000 followers. He's kind of like Chris Medland. And he said he has been highly informed by a number of individuals that the FIA told Red Bull to remove some parts from their car because they weren't within the regs. And that has had a knock-on effect with their performance now. So, yeah. Now, of course, Red Bull have been pegged back by the FIA, and of course, the other teams have caught up with them. They're starting to push, obviously, back against some other teams and starting to see, okay, well, where are they against the rules then? It was okay, of course, when they had such a dominating car, but now the pack is closer. We're starting to see those appeals come out again. But I'm surprised no one appealed Red Bull for so long. So, is it going to be hot for FP3 too? It's actually a bit cooler than it was yesterday, Akano. The weather seems to be a bit cloudier today, so it's a bit cooler. You can see the track temperature up here, 39.9 degrees. It's just dropped below 40. I think yesterday we saw a track temperature of 60 degrees, near that. And then FP2 was high 40s, mid 40s. So yeah, it's a lot cooler today. That could potentially help the Mercedes car and a few cars out there who perform better in cooler conditions. So yeah, we'll see. And there's potential, a 40% chance of rain for later on for quali is what I saw. So, morning James, good to see you, mate. Imagine if they bring back the V6 cars back, then racing would be better. What do you think? I don't know. It's not always necessarily to do with the engines, is it? There's more to it than that. The aero. So, false on Sargent out of the summer. Rick to Williams. RB are negotiating another drive for him. Lawson to Visa to be assessed for Perez's seat. So I do think Perez's seat, I think a decision's been made already. I think Ricciardo is going to move up to Perez's seat. I think Perez will be demoted. He won't be too happy about that. Or he'll be released entirely, and they'll bring Liam Lawson in to replace Perez with Yuki alongside him. I genuinely think they could just completely release Sergio Perez. I think they could. And then the Williams seat, yeah, maybe Williams go for Perez because he brings a shed load of cash. Perez is also a good midfield driver. He can get more out of an underperform. He could get more out of a car further down the grid than he can a car that's a front-running car, you know? So, yeah, I don't think Perez will be off of the... I think we'll still see Perez in a car next year because of how much money he brings. But I do think he's out of that seat. BMW was the loudest F1 car I ever heard. Yeah, it was the best one, Peter, by far. Yeah, it was sick. It's like, why can't we have these cars, these engines back? We'd love to see Rick in the Red Bull. Yeah, I mean, does he deserve it? No. But he is a driver that I think will probably definitely get more out of that car than Perez. And also, look, the way you drive and the way you perform can be different in a better performing car. So Daniel Ricciardo probably would do better in that Red Bull than in comparison to his teammate than what he's doing now in the RB car, you know. So I think he'd do better alongside Max and in a better car than he would in the RB against Yuki now. But we'll see. But green light, guys, green light. Pit exit is open. Pit exit is open. Everyone's still in the pit lane. So no one coming out just yet. Oh, there we go. Right on cue. Zhou Guan Yu coming out. The guy who had a spin yesterday through turn 4 also. So we'll see if we have any more spins today. Where do I think Sainz is going next year? I still think there's an opportunity he could be at Mercedes. I think now it's either Mercedes or Alpine. I think that's it. I think that's why he didn't sign for Williams, is because Alpine have come in with a late offer, and so have, I think, Toto's extended out the arm again, the hand to Sainz after kind of closing that door shut. I don't think they're going to put Antonelli in that car for next year now. That's the rumours circulating anyway. Perez has Perez pace, whatever the car. Perez was finishing higher in the 5th fastest team than now. I know. Max's car has body upgrades. Let's see what Max cooks in qualifying and in the race. Yeah, so they're bringing so their update packages now are not necessarily update packages. They're track specific packages, which is interesting. Which means that they're kind of like they're not specifically upgrading the car as a whole. They're upgrading it kind of, or they're updating it per track. So I think they've reached a ceiling. I think we're in a place right now where we don't know who's going to win the races every race weekend. But of course, Max has got was so good at the start of the season. I mean, he's won 6 of the 12 races. He's got obviously such a dominating lead. No other drivers won the other, say, 3-4 races. It's been split quite evenly, isn't it, across the board? So. What time's the race tomorrow? 2 o'clock UK time. 2 o'clock UK time, Leo. Sainz wants to stay in the front of the grid. Yeah, and I don't blame him. Williams would be definitely moving down the grid. But Alpine, regardless of kind of the management issues they've got behind the scenes, he will be definitely better off in Alpine than he would in Williams, as much as it pains me to say. But he wants that Mercedes seat, even if it's for a year. It's that the market could change again at the end of next year, and it's a seat that he's got potential to win races and outside potential of a championship, you know? And you can always change people's minds you can change someone's mind in a year. Like, just because they think they want to bring Kimi Antonelli in, if Sainz goes in that Mercedes seat, wipes the floor of George Russell, competes for a world championship title, that flips everything on its head. And Toto and that will sit there and go, wow, well, actually, you proved us wrong. Like, let's keep him on for another year. Let's have a sit down and assess the situation. What do you think of Liam in Red Bull? Yeah, we've spoke about this. I think it's too soon for Liam in Red Bull. I think he should go into the AlphaTauri, the RB car. I think that'd be a good way for him to develop. But I think if anyone deserves that opportunity in that Red Bull car, it's Yuki. But the Red Bull just don't see a relationship with Yuki Tsunoda anymore. I'm really surprised that they signed him again. But I think that's partly maybe Yuki's team keep pushing for that re-sign for another year, because there wasn't really anything else freeing up on the grid. So, yeah. Don't know how to judge the RBR upgrades. Is this if there is 7 attempts qualifying between Max and Perez, is that because the upgrades worked or Perez had another bad qualifying? Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult to say at the moment. So, especially these 2 safety car deployments tomorrow. It will be interesting to see how the team reacts to tyres and pit stop calls. Yeah, I mean, we haven't been devoid of pit stops, have we, in the past here? So, sorry, pit stops? Of course we have pit stops. Safety cars, sorry, safety cars. 2015, they had designed 2 separate packages for high and low downforce, and both were a second quicker than the field. Yeah, but that's because they had such a dominating car, like their hybrid engine was just so good. Like their hybrid engine was unbelievable, and of course, like the aero package as well. And they had two great drivers in Rosberg and Hamilton, and whatever people's opinions of Rosberg may be, like he was a good driver, and he would have more world championships if it wasn't for Lewis Hamilton. Yuki's not mature enough for the main team. He is a PR nightmare. I disagree. Look, I've been a very big critic of Yuki over the years, JB, and I think he's very fortunate to still be in F1. He's about to enter his 5th year in the junior team, and that's the longest out of anyone in F1 who's had that, well, in that team who's had that opportunity. Considering how cutthroat Red Bull are as well with their drivers and other teams up and down the grid. I mean, he's been very fortunate to get this amount of time to kind of iron out the kinks and to become a bit more of the complete package. And I thought he was very fortunate to be on the grid last year and this year. But he started off the year poorly again, and I thought it was same old Yuki. But since then, he's clearly banged his head against the wall, obviously after that tantrum against Daniel Ricciardo, and he's been performing. And I think he deserves an opportunity now. It does seem like this is the year that Yuki is properly matured and has got his head around kind of F1, shall we say. But he has to count his lucky stars that he's been given this longer time to sort that out, because not many drivers have. Other than maybe like Lance Stroll, and his dad owns the team, you know. If Sainz goes to Merc, how will he switch to Audi? Oh yeah, the Audi offer is still on there. I don't know I don't think he wants to go Audi, because Audi, there's no guarantee that Audi are going to be any good when they come in. Like, there's no guarantee of that at all. I mean, that Audi are not interested in developing the current car. It's all about the new regs for them. So let's say, so that means that basically this year or next year, he's going to be in an underperforming car, arguably the worst car in the grid. He has to take that into consideration. There's also the consideration and the track record that every set of regulations gets put back a year. So every year they're proposed to be introduced and implemented, they've been pushed back a year. So it's highly likely that the regs are not going to be enforced and be implemented until 2027 rather than 26. So then that's another year. That's 2 years where Carlos Sainz is going to be, like, he's 30, I think, next year. He's going to be in his early 30s and he's going to be in a car that's at the back of the grid for 2 years. Like, that's, regardless of money, and he doesn't need money, let's be honest. He's probably on, what, 20 million or something a year already, 25 million. Like, he's probably one of the better paid drivers on the grid, that's for sure. He wants to be in a team that's at least potential for outside podiums at worst, and at best fighting for wins in a championship, i.e. Mercedes. So I just don't think Audi is the right decision for him, regardless of money. Max wasn't mature when he moved to Red Bull. Exactly. Do you think that Christian will put Carlos in a Red Bull? No, not while Max Verstappen is there. No, I have it on very high authority that he will not be. Those two guys will not be in the same team. Not because Carlos Sainz and Max don't get on. The dads. Fists have been thrown in the past, and supposedly it's still not great between them all. Just imagine how he would go if he had backing from an engine supplier. I think Perez will drive for alongside Brad Pitt. Yeah, they were doing some filming yesterday, wasn't they? But I saw. I do have to, actually, by the way, guys, and this has really pissed me off. Have any of you seen the footage or the images of the grandstands at the Hungaroring this weekend? Now, this is a feature that we are seeing implemented across kind of every track now, and it's clearly something that is being enforced by F1, Liberty Media. There's big, massive, and I got this confirmed that they weren't there last year because a guy I work with went there last year, and I said, were these here? And he said, no, the fences. So there are, I'll try and find an image for you guys. But they're at recent circuits, F1 are blocking off views for general admission. So general admission, of course, is the cheapest ticket that you can get, of course, over a race weekend. And you have to, there's certain areas, you walk around the circuit and so forth, and it's not grandstands. It's not a premium ticket, shall we say. But there was still, at every circuit, there's still areas with general admission where you can get a decent view. You can get a decent view of, like, the start-finish line and certain overtaking points. And what F1 have done now on every circuit, they're blocking off these views. They're blocking off these views from general admission, and wait until you see this from... It's ridiculous. And Montreal did it recently as well, where they then came up and put up metal boards on the fencing so that general admission couldn't see the start-finish straight. It's ridiculous. And one of the reasons why I'm also not that fussed about going to F1 races. You hope these regs are pushed back a year. Yeah, I want them pushed back a year now, Warren, as well, yeah. Because we've now got good racing. And arguably, we're going to have a very close championship next year. And if they're pushed back a year, that means we could get 2 years of very close racing and a close championship fight. So, they're going to be in the mid then. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Audi are not even in the mid. They're like towards the back. Just because they're a reputable name. Reputable companies and reputable like manufacturers have come in before and not done well. So... it wasn't bad at Silverstone. Did you see the aged care home next to the track? I mean, what will Magnussen's future be? He's going to sports cars. He's a good sports car driver. He'll probably go to IMSA. He says he really enjoys it, and he's a good endurance championship driver as well. So, Hungaroring metal fences. Is it on Hungaroring plot view? Can't find it. It was on a TikTok. I'll see if I can find the TikTok that I sent. Hey Georgian, bring the rigs forward to next year. Just see the reaction from Christian. Durability EV Max Verstappen to Mert rumours. I do. Yes, I do. I do. It's really interesting, by the way, guys. But hardly no one's out on circuit at the moment. Oh, Verstappen is. Sorry. Verstappen's the only driver out on circuit. It's been a quiet session at the moment. Only 8 cars have done any running. Maybe that's because they're just wanting to limit and save tyres. I think Audi will hit the ground running. They have so much experience with NP engines and aerodynamics. Yeah, but of course you're limited still to the cost cap. This is the thing. They can't just throw... They can't throw, like you said, billions of pounds at it. They can't throw multi-millions of pounds at it. You're still limited to that 180 mil. And that's why a team like Audi won't be able to just hit the ground running anymore. Only 2 lap times noted, everyone's sleeping. Yeah, it's a bit odd, isn't it? It is a bit odd. I mean, we're 15 minutes into this session nearly. Is Leclerc's car okay? I think it is, yeah. I think they had plenty of time to repair any issues that they had with that car. He got very fortunate yesterday with the amount of lack of damage I think he caused to that car, considering how high speed it was. Can they not work on the new regs yet, given they're not... No, you can't work on the new regs until next year. Yeah. They're you can't start working on them until 2025. You can start working on the engine, I think, but the actual aero and stuff, you're not allowed to work on. So, they need to bring more tyres for practice, just don't let them bring more softs. Yeah, I think this is what this is. Oh, we've got movement. Daniel Ricciardo's on his way out. Yuki's still not out, though. And oh, no, is that Ocon? I thought I saw Daniel Ricciardo as well. Maybe I read that wrong. Hoping for a great race. Yeah, I'm sure it will be tomorrow. Yeah, I'm sure it will be. If Mert stays like Silverstone, Max of course go to Mert, but still, who would be in 2 Red Bull seats? Well, look, the thing is, I don't see Max leaving Red Bull in this current set of regs. Like, he's not going to leave in this current set of regs. He will leave at the start of a new set of regulations. Because Mercedes, the last time there was a big engine change, Mercedes were the team who dominated that. And, I mean, look, he's already saying at the moment, Max, how much he's wrestling this car, how much he is having to dig deep for these wins. And, look, you can see that Perez is, he's a midfield driver, and look at where he's finishing in this car. And then you look at a great driver like Max, and he's dragging this car to wins and fighting, like he's fighting for the podium and stuff. So, yeah, every driver wants to be in a dominant car. As much as they say it's boring, they want to win. They want to win world championships and stuff. And yeah, I think there's strong rumours that the Ford engine, the Ford partnership is not going too well. So every driver will have their ear out. And Max maybe is not involved in those conversations, but he'll leave that to his management team, his dad, his manager, and so forth. So I definitely think there's been conversations. You're watching F3 while listening to me? Oh, so much better than Sky. Chances Lewis and Ferrari? I don't know. It's how high can you jump? You know, like I don't know. It's just no one's going to know until the new regs come out. So, right, let me see. I sent this to a friend of mine. And so here we go. This is the screenshot that I sent. So this is what I sent, guys, just because there's not really much going on at the moment. So you see these here? See these fencing? So technically, this is a walkway, and this never used to be there, and you could see. So you've got grandstands here, and you've got grandstands down below. And they've put these fences all up down the start-finish straight. So they've blocked basically the view. Because us peasants who can only afford general admission aren't worthy of seeing the start-finish straight, you know? F1 favourite. Oh, thanks, Kelvin. Thank you, buddy. There we go. We've got more drivers out on circuit now. More drivers out on circuit. So, yeah, everyone kind of waiting for the first 20 minutes or so. We've got Verstappen on the hards, Perez doing some long runs, it seems. Ocon on the softs. Let's see if Ocon's going to be on a quali run. Let's see. It looks like he's already going very slow through turn 1, so I'm not entirely sure. But let's see if these guys on the softs are actually out there on quali runs. Surely they're going to be. Right, Ocon's already backed out. Yeah, George Russell, I think, compromised his lap there. So, do I think a second team could pick up the Honda engine from 26 to produce the best engine? Yeah, I think so. I think there will be at some point. Yeah. Who is it? It's Aston Martin are picking up the engine first, aren't they? So, yeah. Kimi will stay in F2 for another year. Valtteri will get a 1+1 at Williams so that Kimi can join Williams in 25 to train for Merc. Yeah, potentially, Stuart. Yeah, I don't think Kimi's going to be in Merc next year. It wasn't like Mercedes had a 2-year head start to the turbo hybrid engine era. They don't have that right now. No, they don't. They don't. But, look, Mercedes have always had good engines, haven't they? So, Red Bull are coming in new. Ford are coming in new. So they've been using the Honda engine and had good success with the Honda engine. So, but there we go. A bit more of a busy circuit now. Leclerc. He is out on circuit, guys. Charles Leclerc. He is out there. So his car has been fixed and repaired. So let's see what these drivers can do. Surely this is some quali runs now. Surely it's some quali runs. Or are they just going to go long runs on the softs? Because it's not really a race tyre, the softs. So, do I think Ferrari have a good weekend? I don't know with Ferrari at the moment. They really have dropped back, haven't they? So, maybe it is a circuit where a driver can get the most out of a car. Sargent, fastest in the first sector. Really? Is he going to go purple in the second sector, Sargent? Keep an eye on Logan Sargent, guys. Ah, Lando's taking it away from him. Boo! Some drivers are better in the current grid, but are being somewhat held back by the car. Yeah, I mean, look, that is always the case, Arnold. But then there's also drivers who aren't. So, yeah, there are drivers on the grid who, if they had a better car, they would perform better. But look, it's the best drivers always end up in the best cars. They end up in the best teams for a reason. Other than Perez. It's not always been the case, but generally speaking, the best drivers end up in the best teams. So, hey Shadow, welcome back, buddy. What is the expected lifetime for the softs? Not very long, Phoenix. Not very long. I would say probably 10 laps or so on full fuel. I don't know what on low fuel. Yeah, I don't think the soft has ever really been a viable. Do you know what? I need to see what the strat was last year. Hang on. Pirelli, Hungaroring strategy. Let's get up their graphic from last year. Norris with fastest first sector. Considerably quicker. Norris is doing he did the same thing yesterday. Norris, I don't know what he's doing, but Norris is very much switching on his tyres a lot quicker than other drivers. I don't think that half a second there to his teammate and to 6 tenths of George Russell is just purely pace alone. I think that's him being able to switch on these tyres so much quicker than the rest of the field. Oh, for God's sake, why is it not coming up? When does quali start? This afternoon, 2 o'clock, 2:30. Yeah, this afternoon, some point. I think. No, 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock UK time. Pirelli, Hungary. Strategy. Azerbaijan. Can't I find it, man? Hopefully Charles keeps the car on track. Yeah, Norris is just so much more confident riding the curves. Big advantage here. Yeah, I must admit, I haven't really watched too much footage. The Merc doesn't look overly too great. But Hamilton, 5.8 tenths behind Norris. Sonoda! Well done, Sonoda. Looks like he's got that car fixed. So, are they going to do multiple laps here on these tyres? No, George Russell's back in the pits, so is Norris. So they're doing like mini quali runs, aren't they? They're going out there doing a single lap. But Norris definitely able to switch his tyres on much quicker than everyone else, it seems. Oh, Jesus, big old twitch there. I'm trying to see how long the tyres will last for. I have to go all the way back through Pirelli, which is long. What do I rate the teams for in this race? Well, from what I've seen in practice thus far, I think it has to go McLaren. Then we're yet to see a lap from Verstappen, but Verstappen was kind of there or thereabouts. I would probably go McLaren, Red Bull, and then Mercedes and Ferrari. It's probably a toss-up between Mercedes and Ferrari. You have a dream. In this dream, Yuki wins this GP. Well, look, this... If we have some inclement weather tomorrow, who knows? Who knows? Do I believe Red Bull will lose the championship next season? I think... I'm not going to say no. Oh, sorry, yes. But I think we're going to see a much closer championship battle next year. Yeah, and I think we're going to see it from multiple teams. So... Who's going to win the Constructors? I think McLaren will win the Constructors, yeah. If they continue performing the way that they are, and look, Piastri's doing a good job of, like, even when he's been shafted by the team, he's still finishing in the top 5. I think McLaren, and with Norris, like, he's fighting for podiums week in, week out. I think they're going to, yeah, definitely win. If they keep Perez in that seat. If they keep Perez in the seat, then yeah, I think Red Bull will lose the Constructors. If they change it, then it'll be a lot closer. But yeah, I think the Drivers' Championship is wrapped up, though. I don't know if Hamilton can get pole today. They seem to be struggling a little bit. They do seem to be struggling. They don't look quite as planted as what they were at Silverstone. I think we're definitely going to see 2 outlaps from the... I think we're going to see 2 outlaps from the Mercedes team. I think we're going to see 2 outlaps from a number of drivers, actually. I don't think a lot of... other than Norris, I haven't seen anyone really switch the tyres on straight away. I just saw football, yeah. I just saw the Ferrari looks a little bit sketchy, doesn't it, through turn 4 where he lost yesterday. So I'm just scrolling all the way through, by the way, guys, Pirelli's Twitter at the moment to try and get the strategy options for Hungary last year. Come on. I really hope it was a race. You want a Carlos pole position or a Danny pole position? Carlos is more likely than Daniel. But everyone's now set a lap time. Sergio Perez is down in 20th. Now, interestingly, if you look at Sergio's times, so while he's down in 20th, he is on the hard compound, but look at his teammate, Max. Max is running laps 117.8s. 117. Last lap 122.9. Perez is about 4 tenths slower per lap than Verstappen. 4 tenths slower per lap. Jeez, what did he do last time around, Perez? A 23.2, so a bit closer, 3 tenths, but... Yeah, he's just not on the same level as Max, is he? That just indicates it. But they're trying to get some sufficient long-run data. I think whoever gets cars next season will be really lucky. Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't been nabbed up yet. Well, I mean, he's had offers, isn't he? But the top teams, Merc is the only seat that's been free. So... oh my god, I'm still looking for this strategy options for last year. My search function wasn't going well. Wow, when was that? When was he? Was it 2016? Was Max with Red Bull? When he first joined Red Bull, I think it was. Just trying to find... That's the Dutch GP. Come on. Belgium. It was Hungary before Belgium, wasn't it, last year? Before Spa. That's where we head to next week, by the way. Here we go. Right, so these were the... So I've got 2 graphics for you guys. 2 graphics. Please tell me I've got the other graphic. Here we go. Right, so open link in new tab. Here we go. So these were the strats for last year. And let me see if I can put this a bit smaller for you guys so you can see. And not. So these were the strats for last year, guys. So you can see this is what Pirelli suggested at Hungary. Same compound tyre that we're using this year as well. So it was a 2-stopper. No one. I mean, the 1-stop there with a hard tyre to medium. Mediums, hard, mediums, hard, mediums. The 3-stopper is the only one where the softs was viable. However, I do vividly remember, I think, that this wasn't the best strat, and I think the hard tyre wasn't the right one. I could be wrong. I've got the other graphic up. Oh no, the hard tyre was used. But this is the finishing order and the tyres that they actually used, which was... open image in new tab. I think I'm getting my years wrong, you know. I think I'm getting them mixed up. So this is what they actually used. So you can see there that it was 2 stoppers, medium, hard, medium, medium, hard, medium for Lando. You can see that Sainz started on the softs and used 2 hard. So okay, so the hard tyre was the viable tyre last year. I think it was the year before it wasn't. But no one did a 1-stop. Did they? Anyone do a 1-stop? I don't think anyone did a 1-stop. It was everyone did a 2-stop, but they all pitted at different points. So the softs, you can see there, the guys who started on the softs last year, Stroll, Sonoda pitted lap 9. Sainz managed to take them lap 15, so not very long. Ocon and Gasly both retired, didn't they? So yeah, they're kind of the strats for tomorrow. Is a 2-stopper, the medium and the hard compound. So that's why now you're seeing. That's why now you're seeing Verstappen and Perez on a set of hard compound tyres to gather the data necessary for tomorrow. Max just kept the stints going forever last year. Yeah, that Red Bull was so good on the tyres last year. So Leclerc drove straight into the pits last lap. Visual check on something. Maybe he's back out again there. He's back out. A visual check or maybe a setup change, a wing change. Perez having the best weekend prep he's had for ages. Yes. I mean, he's not in the wall, is he? But let's look at his last lap. 23.4 compared to Verstappen, 23.0. He's on average about 4 tenths a lap. 3 to 4 tenths a lap slower than Verstappen in these long runs. So that's just an indication of how much quicker Max is over Sergio. But Russell to the top of the timing sheets now, 16.8. So, yeah, look. So Russell on a second lap on that set of tyres where they're more up to temperature goes faster than Norris. So yeah, Lewis only did a 17.4, which was interesting. Not sure if he got caught up with traffic. Just something like, thank you, Phoenix. Yeah, thank you anyone who's subbed as well. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, that number at the top right hand of your screen. We're going to be back, of course, later on for qualifying. Practice is all about kind of just chilling and having a chat with you guys, having a bit of back and forth, which I love doing. So yeah, 80 likes as well. If you could get that to 100, it'd be much appreciated. But yeah, this afternoon we have qualifying. There is potential of rain, 40% chance is what I saw on the weather earlier. Everyone's now kind of out there just using up the soft tyres because yeah, they're not viable really for the race tomorrow unless we have kind of a safety car, a late safety car where people will put on a set of softs. So yeah, drivers are saving those mediums, they're saving those set of hards. I don't know. Did Lewis Hamilton use a set of hards, guys? Did he use a set of hards in FP1? Because if he didn't, then he might have two sets. He didn't use a set of hards yesterday in FP2. So he might have two brand new hard tyres available to him for the race tomorrow. Verstappen's done the most laps. I think he isn't comfortable in the car at the moment. I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard anything on the radio. I haven't heard anything on the radio. I think they're just gathering data on the long runs. Whether or not this hard compound tyre is a viable tyre tomorrow. Because in years gone by, the hard tyre hasn't been. So, or maybe, yeah, he's not. Or maybe he's not happy. I'm just trying to look at the radio descriptions that are coming through, and there's nothing from Max at the moment, so he's just setting laps. So is Perez. I mean, they didn't really get sufficient long running time yesterday because of it being interrupted. So, rain, the great equaliser it is. Is it looking like it's going to be? Yeah, it's raining now. I just looked outside and it is raining. Evie. Quali is on at 3 o'clock this afternoon. I'll be live 15 minutes before it goes live. So Lewis didn't use the hard tyre. I thought so, Twister. Yeah, so I think he's got two hard tyres to use, which I'm surprised about. I thought he would at least like to go out there and gather some data on the hard tyre. Maybe there's still 25 minutes left. He might put that on and do some runs, but I mean, he needs to sort out his single lap pace though at the moment. That's kind of the key issue for Lewis because we know how tight this track is. We know that there's limited opportunities for overtaking. Strategy is a key factor here. When you pit, having newer tyres that can chase down the guy ahead. So he needs to ensure that he has a decent quali. Otherwise, he's going to struggle. I mean, if he qualifies 9th or 8th, he's not going to have a good result here this weekend. That's for sure. Qualifying is as important as it has been in a very long time in F1. Red Bull are hammering through their hard tyres. Yeah, I mean they've only so that even though it says that they're technically on their third set, they're not. They're on the same set. It just means they came into pit. Most likely made a couple of changes to the wing. So, yeah, put some Flovis paint on or something. I don't know. But, yeah, they're on the same set of tyres. So, they've done 17 laps on that set of tyres. And you can see Max last time around, a bit of traffic. So, 23.4 for him. Perez a 23.6. What time did he do this time? 26.2. Oh, yeah, a bit of traffic. You got caught up there. Hang on. So apparently George and Lewis have just been just hearing them through Sky that Lewis Hamilton and George Russell have been on the limit in regards to finding the prep. So as I said, prepping these tyres is going to be key, and they've been trying out different ways in prepping those tyres to see if they could get a decent lap time. Obviously Lewis's didn't work, George's did. So. Seeing the current form of Merc and Ferrari, how would Lewis feel about the switch? He'll still feel positive about the switch. Look, I think even if Ferrari and Leclerc, I mean, look, Sainz and Leclerc, are they? And I'm sorry, Leclerc and Sainz fans, but are those two drivers that are getting the most out of that car? Do you think they are? So we've spoken about Max getting the most out of that Red Bull and dragging it up to wins. But do we think that Sainz and Leclerc are getting the most out of that Ferrari? Or do we think someone like Max and Lewis could go into that current Ferrari and do similar things in regards to fighting for consistent podiums and fighting for wins? So I'm not so sure, and I'm a fan of both drivers, but I don't think they're on the same level as Max and Lewis in regards to tyre management. Leclerc, obviously, we know he's got raw pace over a single lap, but I think over a race distance, I still think there's a bit left to be desired, especially when it comes to races with tyre management in particular. And yeah, I think the likes of Max and Lewis would get more out of that current Ferrari than the two drivers now. Sometimes teams respond to new energy coming. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And look, I've mentioned this about the look, F1, every sport, there's a mental side to it as well. And in some sports, the mental side is more important than the actual physical side. And I do think with F1, like, you have to think of the two different perspectives that George and Lewis had. Lewis is coming on a downer from being dominating for the last 10 years, struggling to win races, whereas George has come up from the bottom of the grid to a front running team, or a team that should be fighting for wins and championships. And George has a more positive outlook. He's the younger driver. He knows he's got a lot more time ahead of him to sort out these issues and eventually be the number one driver. And Lewis is like, my time's running out. Like, this is depressing, and he's down. And that does translate into performance, into lack of performance, and an increase in performance for George, because there's two different perspectives there. And whereas Lewis has now got that win off his back, I think he'll be a bit more chill and he'll be a bit more positive. So yeah, and that would be the same necessarily going into Ferrari as well. Verstappen struggling right now. I don't know. I mean, look, he's just coming to pit. And Sergio have, so they've just finished their long run, 18 and 20 laps off those hard compound tyres. I haven't seen any correspondence on the audio radio transcriptions or through Sky that they are struggling. They've obviously specifically done that long run on the hard tyre because it is a race tyre and will be used tomorrow, I suspect, as it indicates from what we saw last year. But yeah, I don't know. Obviously, they've got a lot of updates on the car, track-specific updates. Are they having a desired effect? I mean, look, there's still 20 minutes left. He'll go out probably on a set of softs and do a quali run, and we'll see what their pace is. But George Russell and Lewis Hamilton both out on a new set of softs, guys. So let's see them prep these tyres. Let's see if they do 2 outlap or if they do 1. Let's see what they do. So they're on their initial outlap. Let's see how if they go straight into a flying lap or if they go and do an extra warm-up lap. I'm intrigued to see this. Charles and Perez are struggling with their mentality. Yeah, potentially. Mercedes have been good on this track, but I can see Max winning this one. He can't go without a win for some time. Yeah, we'll see. It's definitely close. McLaren looks strong. McLaren do look strong, particularly Lando. Kristen, you think Leclerc and Sainz are pretty good this week, but still Max and Lewis would get out more. Yeah, I'm not saying the Sainz and Leclerc are bad. It's just, could other drivers get more out of that car? And I think the likes of Lewis and Max could get more out of that Ferrari than what Sainz and Leclerc have been this year. Lewis is a driver who's more on safe, it seems, these days, and George just having... Yeah, I think so. It's just a different outlook, isn't it? It is a different outlook. Right, let's keep an eye on them then. So Russell coming around the last corner now. This is their outlap. So we know the tyre prep is really key here. But does George go straight into a flying lap, or does he want to do an extra outlap? We'll see. It looks like he's going some. Let's keep an eye on his first sector time as he heads down into turn 2. DRS is open, so he's definitely pushing. Let's see about Lewis Hamilton as well. So this is an actual quali run we're seeing right now, but for the two Mercedes drivers. So through the kink into turn 4, and he's slower at 27.9, George Russell. So 27.95. So he's literally slower by 0.03 of a second, George. The fastest first sector time belongs to Norris. And interestingly, the two Haases are in second and third, as Lewis does a 28.0, which is only 8th fastest. So Lewis losing a bit of time in the first sector to other drivers. And George fastest out of anyone in the first sector by 2 tenths over Oscar Piastri. Let's see Lewis Hamilton. If he struggled in the first sector, I'd suspect he's struggling in the second sector as well. I could be wrong. Oh no, he's got those tyres firing. Interesting. So Lewis Hamilton got those tyres firing in the middle sector as George Russell improves his fastest lap with a 1:16.56. As these tyres just get warmer and warmer throughout the course of this lap here at the Hungaroring. Let's see Lewis Hamilton. Can he jump his way up? Currently a Mercedes 1-2 in the second sector. And it's currently... He lost some time there, Lewis, in the last sector quite considerably. Wonder if he had a bit of a lock-up or something, because that's 2 tenths slower than George Russell. And that's 6th fastest in the last sector. I'll show you the sector times in a second, guys. Just watching Lewis's lap now on Sky TV. I just want to see if he made a bit of an issue, or if he shot a little bit deep into turn 12 or turn 13. Because he was looking on course to beat his teammate there. But that's much better for the Mercedes drivers. Obviously a bit more prep. And then Lewis... nothing noticeable. They're showing the... Oh, he had a bit of a snap. He had a bit of a rear snap for the last corner, which I think might have cost him quite a bit. Lewis has got the pace. I don't know. I think Lewis would take... I think Lewis would be happy starting on the second row today. Or tomorrow. I think it'd be over the moon if he can get into the top 4. I generally think that. He looks like he's struggling quite a bit. Like the car doesn't look quite... He's having to fight the car mid-corner, so... I think the Ferrari drivers have potential to do better, yeah. Of course, so... A lot of drivers are locking up. Is that a sign that the rain could be coming soon? No, it's a sign of locking up. It's just... I mean, the track's cooling slightly. It could be the fact that the tyres aren't quite up to temperature and they don't have the grip available to them. It could be that they just got their brake balance wrong and they're applying too much brake pressure. So I would suspect more so on the side of tyre temperature. I think that's more so the case of why you'd seen drivers lock up. Drive for qualifying and the race. I saw there's a potential chance of rain this afternoon, Peter. I think 40% chance is what I saw. What do I think about McLaren's using the mediums? Where are they using the mediums? I don't think they have today, have they? McLaren's strongest tyre is every medium tyre. So, I mean, the more they can use the mediums, the better for them, because that's where they come alive, especially on low fuel. So, Lando's going very quick here, guys. Very quick. He's fastest in the first and the second sector. Quite comfortably in both the first and second sector as well. Let's see where Lando looks very much in pole position here. Lando just looks very good. McLaren looks very nice here this weekend. A 1:16.0, 4 tenths faster than Russell. Wow. Wow, that just switching on those tyres so well, McLaren of Lando. Oh, really, Peter? Nice. Let's see Piastri, 27.8. So he's getting a bit of traffic, though, with Lance Stroll. So this has been a bit of a traffic-affected lap for Piastri, but let's keep an eye on him and see if he can jump up. Albon has gone quicker than Lewis Hamilton, ladies and gentlemen. What? Wow. So let's keep an eye on Piastri though. 26.7. So it's currently a 1-2 for the McLarens in both the first and second sector. And no doubt that is what is going to be. It is on the timing sheets as well. So the McLaren's looking very good. As he comes around the last corner, and Piastri goes second fastest. Only 4 thousandths of a second. Oh my God, the McLaren's looking very good. So Lando went, I don't know, I'm reasonably happy about the lap, I think. Should we use this next as a chance to try some more? But McLaren's looking very good. How long do you think it could be before Lando wins the championship? He could win it next year. Keep an eye on this though, guys. I think the track is ramping up because Nico Hülkenberg, although he's going to get caught by Ricciardo here as Ricciardo moves out of the way, Nico Hülkenberg is fastest out of anyone in the first sector. Let's keep an eye on Hülkenberg as he goes through the second sector. If he lost any time to Daniel Ricciardo there in the middle. 27.2. Half a second off he was there in the middle sector. So yeah, I think he got affected by Daniel Ricciardo. But still a quicker middle sector for Nico Hülkenberg. Wow. Do I believe Lando can win this or something wrong will happen again? Well, as long as the McLaren team take a look at that this race is theirs to win and look at it as them being the front runners and not being the underdogs like they have to kind of every race. Yeah, and have that winning mentality. They definitely can. So Max, is he out yet? No, Max is out on a set of softs. Okay, cool. Right, Max now. Let's keep an eye out on Max. He's out there on a set of brand new softs. Let's keep an eye out on his sector time, guys. Down there in 15th at the moment. We can see that Nico Hülkenberg went 5th in the end there, guys. 5th. So he'd be probably even higher, Nico Hülkenberg, if he didn't lose so much time in the middle sector because of traffic to Ricciardo. Let's keep an eye on Max. He'll go through the first sector as he goes to turn 4. So let's keep an eye out and see if that goes purple. It doesn't. He's slightly slower. He splits the two McLarens, so he's slightly slower than Lando Norris and Nico Hülkenberg in the first sector. Max is in 14th or 15th at the moment because he's been doing long runs. He hasn't set a quali lap yet, but he's doing that right now, guys. So as he heads through turn 10 and through turn 11, flick of the steering wheel to the right. 27.0, only 5th fastest, slower than both the McLarens and the Mercedes in the second sector. But you are talking, well, that's 3 tenths slower than, or 2.5 tenths slower than Lando in the second sector. So not very quick from the Red Bull there in the middle sector. But is he able to recover it in the last sector? And he does somewhat. He splits the two McLarens. He's 100th of a second quicker than Lando in the last sector, but still a 10th slower than Piastri. But that's nearly 3 tenths slower than Lando. Interesting, guys. Very interesting. Wish Oscar gets better than Norris soon. Tyres management solve. Agree, Marianne. Yeah, he definitely needs to sort out his tyres. Need Piastri side of the garage to improve a lot this weekend. Make sure he gets second running Q3. 100% agree, Warren. Yeah, I mean, McLaren have really dropped the ball with Piastri in the last few races. He arguably could have won Silverstone. He arguably could have won it. And they minimum probably should have had a double podium, McLaren, last time out at Silverstone. But they threw it away with Piastri. So this keeps up, then it looks like McLaren's race to lose. Yes, early days still, early days. We'll see what happens in qualifying. But yeah, track temperatures cooling a little bit, 37 degrees now. We started this session at 40 degrees. But look, Lewis Hamilton not quite at the races, it seems. Daniel Ricciardo up there, half a second back. But we do know, obviously, we still don't know what drivers are running battery mode, engine mode, fuel load. So I'm still taking this kind of with a pinch of salt. But the Ferrari drivers out there now as well. So let's keep an eye on them as they do their quali runs. So Sainz and Leclerc, in the Ferrari, 11th and 12th. A 27.7 for Sainz there. So that puts him 4th. How about in the first sector? How about Leclerc? Only 10th. Charles Leclerc only 10th in the first sector. He's actually slower than the 2 Haases and the 2 Stake F1 cars. Ooh. So let's see Sainz going through the second sector now as he heads down into turn 12. And 27.1, that puts him 7th. So still not that good. That's 4 tenths off of the pace of Lando Norris and Piastri there. And Leclerc slightly goes ahead of Sainz. And yeah, they're 4 tenths. The Ferraris are very slow compared to the McLarens and the Mercedes in the second sector as Sainz comes across and goes into P5. So half a second back. How about Charles Leclerc? Comes around the last corner. Did he get more out of the last sector than his teammate? Ooh. Ooh, not looking good. Not looking good for them. So let's have a little look, guys, at the sector times at the moment. And here are your sector times for every driver. You can see there, Nico Hülkenberg is fastest out of anyone in the first sector. He was considerably slow in the middle sector, but that was, I think, due to a bit of traffic from Daniel Ricciardo. And then, look, 9th in the last sector. But the McLaren's looking very good. It's very close in the first sector, really, from 8th to 1st. You can see there. Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, how slow are they in the first sector, though? Wow. What is up with the 2 Mercedes drivers? They are losing so much time in that first sector. 15th and 17th. That is a big issue for them, as they're one of the fastest in the middle. Hamilton had a bit of an issue, a bit of a snap oversteer, but he had to get under control in the last sector on his run, which is why he's down in 12th. But yeah, the Mercedes, I didn't realise they were 15th and 17th. Verstappen, you can see 3rd, 5th and 3rd. Norris consistently quick across the board, which is why he set the fastest lap. So yeah, really intriguing, guys. Really intriguing at the moment. Interesting. Feels so refreshing, but there is increasingly more and more open races with no definite team dominant. Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. I think it's great not to know who's specifically going to be the quickest. And I mean, we can always guess it's going to be the top 4 teams, but you don't know which driver, you don't know in which order, and yeah, it's so close at the moment. It's great. See a new winner like Albon. Slower than 2 Stake F1 cars. I know. Alonso's just gone 5th fastest. Oh, Lewis Hamilton has brought out the yellow flag. Is he moving? There's a double yellow in turn 9. Lewis Hamilton, has he crashed? Has Lewis Hamilton crashed? It sounds like, chat is reporting that Lewis is off. Oh, he's going again. He's going, but what has he done? As I'm watching the TV coverage, what has Lewis Hamilton done? He is moving again, but he brought out a double yellow. He was stationary for quite some time. Oh no, what has gone on for Lewis Hamilton in this session? Is it just too much curb and he's lost the rear of the car? Potentially. But has he caused any damage to that car? He is trundling back to the pits. I'm still waiting to see exactly what has happened, guys. As the yellow flag has now been brought out on my TV coverage. Watching now to see if there's any coverage. Why have they still not gone to the yellow flag? The TV direction is pretty poor this weekend. I must admit, on the practice, they take forever to get to any sort of incident or anything that's interesting. And Lewis Hamilton has spun the car. He was on the grass. But has he got any damage to the rear? The front looks okay. And the car looks intact. Doesn't look like there's any damage to the car. He's definitely had a spin, kept it out of the barrier, and he will be back in the pit lane. So watching the replay now of Lewis Hamilton as he went through the chicane, heads through into that middle sector. And as he spins the cut... Oh, wow. The car, some setup work considerably needs to be done to that Mercedes, because Lewis is just losing the rear of the car through every middle through the middle of every corner. The car is just not planted through the middle of every corner. He's having to fight the wheel, and that's a clear indication that that car is not stable. And no doubt some setup work is going to be done on that car between now and qualifying to try and rectify that, because, well, there's only 3.5 minutes remaining of this session. So he's definitely not going to have time to get out there and sort anything out. But George Russell seems to have a little bit more in hand. But yeah, Lewis really struggling there. Do I think Lando could get pole? Yeah, I do think so. I do think so, yeah. I think he's definitely the man to beat by the looks of it at the moment. Ferrari damaged the car with the upgrade. I swear Perez is just there to complete for the 20th driver. Where has he gone with his lap? 8 tenths down. Jeesh. Where's his lap? I'm trying to see. But yeah, Lewis struggling a lot. Lewis struggling a lot with the setup of that car. Remember to join back to it. Yes, so we'll be back. We'll be back for quali. When is quali? 3 o'clock, isn't it? We'll be back for quali at 3 o'clock, just beforehand. So yeah, be sure to come back and tune in then, guys. If you haven't subscribed already, please do, and hit that like button. Over 145 likes. Thank you very much. But yeah, we'll be back in a few hours' time for qualifying. Weird the Merc is bouncing under braking, what's causing that issue? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe running the car too low? I don't know. I mean, George's car looks a bit more stable through the corners, through the middle of the corners than Lewis's car. Lewis is really having an issue on through the middle of every corner. He's like the rear just wants to come round on him, and that's exactly what happened there. So yeah, quite intriguing. But let's have a look at the grid at the moment. We only have 2 minutes left of this session, so drivers just probably getting a last couple of laps in. But you can see Norris P1, Piastri P2, only less than half a tenth separating Norris and Piastri up there at the top of your timing sheets. Verstappen in P3. It does look like it's shaping out to be a McLaren and Verstappen fight for the pole position today. We'll see. But at Red Bull, all weekends, even yesterday, it's just been a couple of attempts off the pace of the McLarens. So we'll see. On a single lap pace anyway. Russell in P4, best of the rest. Sainz in P5. Ricciardo and Albon and Hulkenberg and Tsunoda all up there in 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th. That's intriguing to see as Lewis Hamilton struggling quite evidently with the setup of this Mercedes in P10. Leclerc also maybe just not quite there with that spin that he had yesterday and that crash through turn 4, not quite at the races and as committed in P11. Bottas in 12th, Perez 13th. Yeah. Alonso 14th, Stroll 15th. We'll see if they've got any more pace come qualifying. They've got a big update package here this weekend, haven't they? Alonso, the Aston Martins of Alonso and Stroll. Sargent 16th, Zhou 17th, bless you. Gasly in 18th, Magnussen 19th, and Ocon 20th. Anyone doing a flying lap now? No, don't think so. Oh. Max has low upgrades. Yeah, he does, yeah. Well, they're only upgrades if they work, guys. They're updates. Upgrades if they work. Downgrades if they don't work. We can potentially say with Ferrari, they downgraded their car with the updates they brought to Barcelona because they definitely haven't had the desired effect. I can't see Perez as Red Bull driver next season. I can't see Perez as Red Bull driver after the summer break, Memphis. Genuinely. I want a world where the top 5 disappear and we have a podium of Rick, Albon and Hulkenberg. Bless her indoors, yeah. Track surface all slippery. No, it seems to be okay. But yeah, there we go, guys. Checkered flag, and yeah, no changes there in the order because no one's done any more flying laps. It's going to be an interesting qualifying session this afternoon. Can Hamilton? Oh, Max had a very big lock up into turn 1. Ooh, right at the end there, Max had a big lock up into turn 1. But yeah, a lot of work. I do feel like McLaren are the only team who are comfortable with their car as it stands. Mercedes aren't happy. Red Bull aren't happy. Ferrari aren't happy. Out of the top teams anyway. I think they're definitely. I think there'll be work had in the next few hours on Lewis Hamilton's car to get that car a bit more planted. Just watching this lock up again and Max down into turn 1, and lock up maybe because he got caught out by cars coming out of the pit lane. But We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting qualifying session. I do think it's between the two McLaren drivers for pole position. They seem to be just on it. They seem to be switching their tyres on very quickly, which is a big bonus for them here at the Hungaroring. And yeah, Max, look, we never write Max off. We still don't know what engine modes are being run, fuel load, etc. But yeah, it does seem like the Mercedes aren't quite there. So, as I said before, Lewis would be over the moon with a second row start, or even a third row start, I think. But yeah, but there we go, guys. That is it. I've now got to go dip out. I've just got some errands to do between now and qualifying. So we'll be back for qualifying 15 minutes before it starts. So you can find the link. You can find on this channel that stream ready to rock and roll. So yeah, head over there, have your tab open, turn your notifications on to be notified 30 minutes before we go live. And yeah, we'll see who's going to be on pole and what the starting grid will be for the Hungarian Grand Prix tomorrow. Only a few hours until we find out. So yeah, have a good lunchtime, guys, or breakfast time or dinner time, wherever you are in the world. And we'll catch you 15 minutes before qualifying goes live at 3 p.m. UK time. So yeah, see you then, guys. Bye.